Welcome to this video tutorial involving finding the area and perimeter of a kite in exact form, meaning no decimals, and incorporating special right triangles. We have a kite pictured on the screen. We are going to find both its area and its volume. The first thing to remember about a kite is that its adjacent sides are congruent, but the sides across from each other are not congruent. So we've labeled the kite as indicated on the screen. The other key to this problem is drawing in the diagonals of the kite. Now when I draw in this first diagonal, it creates two congruent triangles just based on how a kite is formed. Side, 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 of course, would get us the two congruent triangles. So in doing that, we would split this 90-degree in half, and we would have a 45 and a 45. And we would also be splitting the 60 degrees over on the right-hand side in half, turning it into a 30 and a 30. Then we draw in the other diagonal. And the key thing with a kite is that the two diagonals intersect to form perpendicular lines, or right angles, whichever one you want to say. So there we have our right angles. And now what we're really going to do is just focus on the top portion of the kite, and really and truly just focus on the left-hand side separate from the right-hand side. So I'm going to color code each of those accordingly. So on the right-hand side, let's just go with an orange color for that triangle. And on the left-hand side, we'll go with the red, just keeping the colors as we've already got indicated. Now we will start with the left-hand side triangle just because, well, we actually have a number for that triangle, the 24 square root of 5 on its hypotenuse. So we know that the hypotenuse is 24 square root of 5, that's pretty hip. And then we know that the two legs are going to be congruent because it's going to be a 45, 45, 90 special right triangle. Now we need to divide 24 square root of 5 by the square root of 2 to get one of the legs. So 24 radical 5 divided by radical 2. We need to get that radical 2 out of the denominator. We multiply by radical 2 over radical 2. And this is going to turn out to be 24 radical 10 all over 2, which is going to be 12 radical 10. For the length of each of the legs. So 12 square root of 10 and 12 square root of 10. Now we can transition over to the triangle on the right hand side, realizing that its height is also 12 radical 10. So drawing that in, we've got ourselves the 30-degree angle right here. And please remember that I'm not necessarily drawing things to scale, but we can always identify the shorter leg of the triangle by the side across from our 30. This would be a 60. Now you take the shorter leg and multiply by radical 3 to get the longer leg. So in this triangle, the longer leg is going to be 12 radical 30. And you also take the shorter leg and multiply it by 2 to get the hypotenuse. So the hypotenuse is 24 square root of 10. So now we're going to really break this the kite down into both the left-hand side and the right-hand side. Now on the left-hand side, we've got two triangles, as I've just numbered. And when we do their areas separately, each one is going to be some base times some height divided by 2. Well, let's go back to the triangle that we figured out over on the side. Notice its base and height are both 12 radical 10. So we're going to have 12 radical 10 times 12 radical 10. Ooh, look at this. Notice that the 2's cancel. That's typically going to happen with a kite. 12 times 12 is 144. Radical 10 times radical 10 is just 10. So on the left-hand side of our kite, the area is 1440. Now we're going to transition and look at the right-hand side of the kite, this triangle right here. And again, there's two of those triangles in the picture as well. So we have two triangles, each of which is some base times some height divided by 2. The base is 12 square root of 30 and the height is 12 square root of 10. Notice again that the 2's cancel. So as we simplify this, 12 times 12 is 144. Sometimes this might be easier for the square roots though. It's a pretty radical idea. We can rewrite radical 30 as radical 10 radical 3, and I'll just carry radical 10 along for the ride. So this would turn out to be 10 times 144, which is 1440, and then we'll have the square root of 3 at the end. So as we work to polish off this problem for the kite, the overall area of our kite would be the left-hand side plus the right-hand side added together, which is going to be 1440 plus 1440 radical 3. We cannot combine it any further. We cannot simplify it any further. They are not like terms, so that would be it. The perimeter, actually, the perimeter is going to be pretty quick and easy. We had 24 radical 5 on the left. We have 24 radical 10 on the right from what we found earlier. So the perimeter is just going to be double 24 square root of 5 plus 24 square root of 10. And ultimately then our perimeter would be 48 radical 5 plus 48 radical 10. That would be our final answer for the perimeter. And overall, a kite is really not bad. We're just splitting figures into triangles, perhaps even rectangles, and then finding the areas individually, adding them together, and once combined, we get the area and or perimeter of the shape we were hoping to find.